To me, the simplest thing is just the misunderstanding that's at the heart of it, right? Which is what we've kind of been harping on about for a day and a half now, which is where do you think your feelings come from? Because we do so much to try and overcome them. Like somebody makes me mad and then I spend all this time thinking, now what do I have to do back? That happens between nations, it happens between companies, it happens with individuals who are competitors within a firm. As long as there is a fundamental misunderstanding that something or somebody else can make you feel a certain way, you're just functioning off the wrong platform. So you are going to be trying to defend something, trying to protect something, trying to gain back something, trying to control something, because they kind of have a power over you, over how you feel. And how much of life is, I mean, you mentioned that we see some thought, but not the others. Well, that's 99% of it that we don't see. And we just take it as a given. We just take it as true. And so, even though it seems kind of reductionist to bring all of life and all challenges, personal or global, into that level of, well, there's just one thing that's happening, which is that we misunderstand where our experience of life comes from. And it changes what we think we need to do in the world, what we think we need to protect, who we think we need to serve, how we think we need to serve them, what problems we need to solve. All of those are based on this idea that there's something out there that I need to control. Because without those factors, there's something in here that's not okay, right? So really, there's just one foundational thing, which is the misunderstanding we have about where our life experience comes from. And as long as we have that, we will continue to see symptoms of it in the world. And we will continue to try and solve those symptoms. And it'll create new symptoms, and we'll then try and solve those symptoms. So, for example, I work in aviation, and you can see how we have tried to solve the question of, say, safety, right? So after 9/11, all the cockpit doors are bulletproof. They are axe-proof, they are everything-proof. Once the pilot locks it, nothing can get back in there, right? And it's a good idea. It's a good idea to keep that area secure. But then what happens is a couple of years down the line, a pilot locks out a co-pilot and takes down the whole plane. Nobody can do anything because the door is locked, right? So we're trying to solve what is essentially a human factor problem with systemic solutions. And while those are good ideas, they are good bridges until we find the solution and solve the real problem. They are never going to solve the entire package, because that problem originates in the mind of a human being. So until we look back in that direction, we're always band-aiding problems because we just can't figure out how to solve them.
All right. So what we're doing is we're zooming back in to the entry point of where it began. Within our mind, we had an experience, and based on that experience, we went outside and created the world we have right now. And we forget that. We forget that the world we see out there, we created. We forget the world we see, we literally created here. And when you zoom, far enough back, you'll see that the only thing that's going on is mind is producing this whole kind of circus of reality into the outside world. And it really changed everything when you look at it that way. Instead of seeing what has already been created and how can we move those moving parts, we go to the source, which is just one thing, and therefore just one solution.